Hi, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are. Welcome to our webinar series from the Science and Technology Library section of IFLA. My name is Anna Al. I am a standing committee member of the section, and joining me today here, we also have another standing committee member. She will be assisting the whole process. Her name is Monica Lamba, and yeah, I'm not sure if she wants to say a few words, but anyway, she will be here if you have any questions. And our speaker today is Alan Ang from Wikimedia Deutschland, Wikimedia Germany. And yes, and that's who we are. And there are a few rules we have to follow to ensure a better webinar experience. So please turn off your microphone if during the process, so that no one is disturbed during the process. And if you have questions, please use the Q&A function, which is next to the chat function, and yeah, and we will answer your questions there, whatever it is. And this whole webinar is recorded and will be uploaded in our YouTube channel sometime after the webinar. And live transcription is available. So if you need the subtitles, you can turn it on with the caption function, which is also at the bottom of the function bar. And yes, I think that is all from me for now. And I will pass the power to Alan. I should mute myself because I'm not speaking.
Thank you. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Monica, for inviting me for this particular session. And I want to thank everyone as well for taking time off to join me to talk very quickly and briefly about Wikidata Mismatch Finder. This particular topic is of kind of interesting to most of the users of Wikidata, but at the same time to the library community at doing a link open data web. So without much further ado, let me jump straight in. Well, yes, my name is Alan Ang, partner manager at Wikimedia Germany. I am responsible for onboarding global institutions such as libraries, archives, galleries, museums, and even other institutions as well onto the link open data web, specifically Wikidata Wikibase project. So today I'll be running through very quickly about who we are, Wikimedia Germany, Wikimedia Deutschland, why is it that we're so special, and talk about Wikidata Wikibase. Also share a bit briefly about link open data vision, which is very important because it underscores why we do what we do. And once you learn about this, you have a better understanding of, hey, where is Wikidata, why is Wikidata, where is Wikidata positioned in our whole portfolio. So I'll also talk briefly about Wikidata, as well as running through a bit more deeper about Wikidata's data reuse projects, where I'll also invite my colleague, Lydia, who is the portfolio product manager for Wikidata, where we have a pre-recorded video of her giving a quick workshop showcase about Mismatch Finder tool. And then, of course, you can't talk about Wikidata without talking about Wikibase, which is essentially the software that's powering Wikidata. And I will give you some quick showcase about Wikibase and the GLAM use cases. If there's not enough time for you to ask questions, if you feel like questions pop up later on, after this session, please feel free to send them over my way via the email. And this presentation deck will also be shared with everyone. So let me run through very quickly about the beginning of the agenda that we have today, which is Wikimedia Deutschland. We are a non-profit organization based in Berlin. We are the German chapter of the overall global Wikimedia movement. Our main goals and objective is to work to provide more people with more access to more knowledge. As you may or may not already know, the global Wikimedia movement has got many, many, many projects. The most famous, notable one is Wikipedia. And we have got Wikimedia Commons, we've got Wikidata, Wikibase, and lots of other projects as well. So what is so special about us is that we have a dedicated software development department, and our role is to ensure that Wikimedia Deutschland gives everyone free access to more knowledge by delivering innovative and useful open source software. This is very important because all the software that we are producing, working on, delivering open source. We develop and maintain Wikibase, and we also develop and maintain Wikidata. Wikidata is run on the servers of the Wikimedia Foundation. So our software development team builds products for large international community of users like yourselves, in the library space. We work to ensure that to build the right products, and our users, they play a very important central role in our product development processes. Our approach is fundamentally a community-centered development approach. So what this means is that our community of users inform our product development team, and we work to ensure transparency around our work. So this is our link open data vision, which I would like to share quickly with everyone, because it really tells you and gives you a better understanding of why we do what we do at Wikimedia Germany. So in the first stanza, we say that we work towards a future in which people share the power to collect and organize the data that shapes humanity's understanding of the world. We want to emphasize specific key terms here, which is people, not of organizations, not corporations, not government, but essentially we want to work with people, right? And people, individuals like yourselves, myself, we have the power, ability to share and collect organized data. Not any other data, but specifically we want to encourage general purpose data that all humanity can be able to use, reuse, and better understand the world. We work with diverse communities around the world to participate in Wikidata and in a network of specialized Wikibases, co-creating an open and free global knowledge graph in a thriving link open data web. Some key concepts here in terms that I want to emphasize is diverse communities around the world. We do not really want to just focus on specific communities that have a wealth of knowledge, but we want to work with different groups of people, communities around the world, where they are able to share their different heritage, culture, history, everything around them. And participate in not only just, talking about link open data web, but in Wikidata, and also encourage them to use Wikibases, where they all can become part of this thriving link open data web. So this is the basis upon which people, companies, and institutions of all sizes can generate new insights, build new apps and services, and change the world for the better. This is important because we do not only want to provide a product or a service to the different communities to just put in their data and to share their data, but we also want to enable the communities, the people, the companies, the organizations, the different projects. They can build new apps and services, right? They can develop new tools. They can build new projects and reuse the data that we have on their different modern applications, with the aim, of course, to change the world for the better. So this is really our vision, and it underpins why we do what we do here at Wikimedia Deutschland in the link open data web. So what does this mean overall? You heard about Wikidata, you hear a bit of Wikibase, just to share with you roughly about what this whole concept means. The Wikidata and Wikibase ecosystem, therefore, are the foundation of our link open data web. So you may have already heard of Wikidata, and that's why you are here. Thank you very much. Wikidata provides data, yeah. It is an ontology that other people can use and build upon. As you can see here, we have Wikidata right here. In the middle of this ecosystem that we are envisioning to build. And the Wikidata is also able to power the other various Wikimedia projects like Wikipedia, Wikimedia Commons, as well as so many other Wikimedia projects. But at the same time, we want to be able to encourage everyone else to be able to build your own little Wikidata in your own database, right? And therefore become part of the whole link open data web. And that's where Wikibase comes in. So with the Wikibase software, you are able to, we are able to expand knowledge available through the link open data web. And that's why I'll run through with you very briefly about what Wikibase is, in the whole Wikibase ecosystem. So I'm sure you know a bit about Wikidata, and that's why you are here today. Thank you very much. But nonetheless, for those who are uninitiated, I will just quickly give a run through, quick introduction of Wikidata, so you have an idea of what we are talking about, the whole concept, right? So currently, Wikidata has about 100 million data items. As you can see here on the heat map, what you can see is the brighter the spots are where most of the data comes from. And what is evident is not so peculiar. It's really that the Europe and North America region are very, very bright because most of the data comes from there. And as you can see, you move to other continents of the world, the heat map, the spots are not so bright. So that's why we really want to reach out to different communities from other parts of the world to say, hey, participate in the link open data web, unlock your databases, share with everyone so that we will be able to ensure that there's knowledge equity among everyone in the world. So we have 100 million items since last October, where it was Wikidata's birthday, and we are very happy, and the whole data items continue to increase. So what is Wikidata, right? Wikidata is a Wikimedia project that started in 2012. It is free and open knowledge base. It contains structured data, yeah. It is linked to other databases. And one thing to note is that all the data in Wikidata is available under the CC0 license. Wikidata is based on statements and references, which means the data is made not only for humans, but also machines to be able to read them. One of the most interesting aspects about Wikidata, which many people have asked, it's like, why so special? Why does the interface look this way? It's mainly because Wikidata is multilingual. We are able to support about close to, I think, 100 over languages or so, or more than 100 languages. And it is also collaborative, which means that everyone can come onto Wikidata and to make changes, edits, build tools, and to reuse the data on Wikidata. So a quick tutorial about how data is modeled on Wikidata. Users model the world in terms of triples, meaning to say that it's a triple structure. There's item, property, and value. I'll give you a very quick example here. This item on Wikidata, known as Maya Angelou, she has a unique item identifier, which is a Q number that is being attributed to Maya Angelou. And within the statement itself, there's this property which is commonly used as property of the instance of, and the value that is corresponding this property is a human. So Maya Angelou can also be the other statements, properties that we can use as well, like where Maya Angelou is educated at, spouse is, who the spouse is, and other many other items that can be linked to Maya Angelou. So, for example, we seen earlier on just now that Maya Angelou with the Q number of 19526 is an instance of a human, and a human is another item on Wikidata with a Q number of 5. And Maya Angelou's spouse was Paul, and with a unique Q number of 97516507, and this number is specifically attributed to Paul, who is a spouse of Maya Angelou. And the place of birth is St. Louis with Q38022. As you can see now, with Maya Angelou and the different properties under the statements where, who the spouse is, the instance of, place of birth, and all these different items are all individual items in Wikidata. That's how they're all linked together via the statements. So therefore, items are all linked to each other. So we have about 100 million items of Wikidata. If you're not able to query them, if you're not able to do some search on them, to perform some searches on them, to be able to answer some of the questions and to pull the data out, it's pretty is useless and senseless, right? And we have got two ways of querying the data on Wikidata. The first is the Wikidata query service, where you require some form of basic Sparker language knowledge. And the second way is using the Wikidata Query Builder, which is fairly straightforward to use for users with little or no experience in Sparkle. If you would like to see more demonstration about how to query Wikidata's data, there are many other videos on the internet, that on YouTube as well, that will give you a very good tutorial on how to do so. So do not be worried about this. If you like more information, feel free to write to me, write to us, and we can provide you some links as well. So having 100 million items on Wikidata, if there's no way to query them, there's no way to reuse them, what is it for, right? So over the past more than 10 years or so, we have observed that there are essentially three big groups of spaces, that are contributing to Wikidata. We have got a group of volunteers who have been creating, editing, and maintaining items on Wikidata. These individuals are really just spending their own time and effort, their own free time and effort to come on Wikidata and to make it a better place by enriching the data on Wikidata. So we also have groups of organizations, peoples, projects who are reusing the data on Wikidata. There are commercial organizations and non-profit organizations that have been reusing Wikidata's data. For the commercial organizations, we know that there are many large tech companies which have been, trying to, in their own different ways, reusing the Wikidata's data in different applications. For example, in search boards, in the chat boards, or in different solutions and softwares that they have been producing, right? Consumer solutions and softwares. We have also been aware that there are many AI companies in the world, which is very trendy right now, that are also reusing Wikidata's data as well. There are also many non-profit organizations and projects that have been data reusers. For example, OSM is OpenStreetMap, which is a very interesting project. There are many government agencies as well. They have been reusing Wikidata's data. And of course, not to forget, Wikimedia projects. So on top of that, there are different projects that individuals and even small organizations, they have come up with to reuse Wikidata's data just to showcase the power of Wikidata. For example, you have Gov Directory, which is a very interesting project that showcases where the different contact numbers and different contacts of the government agencies in the different countries, which they will encourage most of the other volunteers to also, put their countries on Gov Directory as well, to share the information, whether it's a contact number, email, or social media handles, etc. And of course, there's the Histropedia project, which is really interesting, that gives you a very wonderful visualization showcase of the different topics that you would like to be able to query from Wikidata as well. And of course, not forgetting, there are many organizations like libraries, which have been linking their databases to Wikidata through external identifiers. Galleries, libraries, archives, and museums are just some of the partners, the players who have been linking their data to Wikidata. There are also open government projects, which have been linking their databases to Wikidata. And not forgetting, there are media organizations, right? There are news organizations, media organizations, which provide news agencies with timely updates about what's happening in the world today. Let's say if they want to say, oh, there's something happening in Singapore, I'm coming from Singapore, and the information that talks about Singapore, the structured data on Singapore can be pulled from Wikidata as well. So as you can see, we have kind of look into which are the different groups of players who have been and how they're working with Wikidata. And this is just a quick snapshot of this. But right in the middle of it all, as you can see, I've put this tool called Mismatch Finder here, because if all the other organizations, individuals, projects, they have been trying to use, reuse, and link to Wikidata, what happens if there are mismatches, right? What happens if the data that you have on a database doesn't match and correspond that to of the Wikidata? So who is going to be informed about this? What's going to be done about this? And this is why we are having this little workshop or crash course today about Mismatch Finder. Yeah. Mismatch Finder is a tool that's developed by Wikimedia Deutschland. It helps editors to work on mismatches between Wikidata's data and other databases or websites like yourselves. The libraries will have their own websites and databases, and if a link to Wikidata, then if there are mismatches, someone needs to identify the mismatches and resolve the mismatches, right? So how does this look like, the whole process, right? First, we have to identify the discrepancy between your data and Wikidata statements, and then generate a mismatch CSV file with the mismatching statements, and add your mismatches to the Mismatch Finder store via API, and editors will then review your mismatches, fix the statements in Wikidata, or report the issues of the data to you. It sounds pretty complicated, but I have my colleague Lydia, who has made a very short, quick 3-minute video to showcase what Mismatch Finder is and how it can be used. Let me play the video. If you cannot see the video or hear the video, please let me know.
This video is a short intro to the Mismatch Finder.
Is everyone able to see and hear? Yeah? Okay, I guess that's fine. Thank you. I see a thumbs up.
A new tool to help improve data quality in Wikidata and make the whole linked open data web more robust. It lets you review mismatches, so different data between the data that's in Wikidata and the data that's in other websites and databases. You can start by providing a list of item IDs for any area of interest to you. For example, let's start with a bunch of item IDs for football players. I enter these IDs and I ask the Mismatch Finder to check if it has any mismatches for any of the football players. And indeed, it does. There is one mismatch for one of the players I provided. It is on the nationalfootballteams.com player ID. The data here on Wikidata is different in this case from the data that English Wikipedia has. So let's investigate. If I click on this, I get to English Wikipedia article where this mismatch is coming from, and I can see that there is a link to the nationalfootballteams.com profile of this player. If I click it, I get to the nationalfootballteams.com website, but I get to a profile for a completely different player. So apparently there was a small slip up here on English Wikipedia where the ID was entered wrong. So I could go back to English Wikipedia and edit this article to now contain the correct ID. Then I go back to the Mismatch Finder and set this mismatch to wrong data on external source and save that review so that no one else has to review it again in the future. Another way to become aware of mismatches is to enable a small user script in your profile on Wikidata. When you have it enabled, it will show you these little yellow banners for any item where the Mismatch Finder has a mismatch. You can then click on Inspect, and it will lead you to the Mismatch Finder website where you can find out all the details that we have about this particular mismatch, and you can resolve it. Now, how does the Mismatch Finder know about all these mismatches? It relies on people to compare Wikidata's data against other databases and websites, and then upload these potential mismatches into the Mismatch Finder store. If you want to do that and provide some mismatches, please see the documentation link below. We hope you will find the Mismatch Finder to be a very useful tool for keeping Wikidata's data quality high and making the linked open data web more robust. Check it out.
Thank you, Lydia, for that little interesting showcase about how to use Mismatch Finder. Mismatch Finder is a tool that Wikimedia Deutschland developed in response to a lot of queries from the different data reusers, asking, hey, I realized that there are mismatches between my database, the data in my database, and the data in Wikidata. So how and where do I, raise this point up, right? And how do we resolve this? And so that's why this is a very good example of our community-centered approach, and the Mismatch Finder tool was developed. So we hope that more and more users of Wikidata will be able to understand and learn about this tool and to be able to use them. But this is important. Why? Because having 100 million items on Wikidata sounds good, like a huge number, nice number to have. However, if the data on Wikidata is not updated, it's not enriched, the quality is not there, then over time the data becomes not very useful to other people, other organizations, other projects out there to use the data. So one of our goals and objectives at Wikidata is to ensure that we can continue to promote high quality data on Wikidata and to update the different items and data on Wikidata. This is part of what we sought out to do and set out to do. Yeah. So please, if you're more interested in Mismatch Finder, write to me as well. I'll be very happy to to share more regarding this. So we have heard a lot about Wikidata earlier on. We also heard a bit about Wikibase. So what is Wikibase, right? Wikibase is essentially, fundamentally, the software that is powering and underlying Wikidata, right? So it is free and open source. It was launched in 2012 when Wikidata was launched. But it was not exactly a product back then. So we decided to, we at Wikimedia Deutschland decided that, hey, this is pretty interesting and we want more users to join the Link Open Data Web with whatever knowledge that they have. But at the same time, if they do not want to go into Wikidata, then they can, use the Wikidata software, aka Wikibase, onto their own database, and they have their own little mini Wikidata, right? So Wikibase therefore powers Wikidata and also increasingly a range of other link open data projects. And Wikibase instances, Wikibase databases, they are also very important in this whole, trying to identify mismatches between their data and Wikidata's data. So right now, as of 2023, there are two products in Wikibase. One is the Wikibase Suite, where it's a manual install, Wikibase software or via Docker images. It is actually self-installed, self-managed. Your hosting is self-managed. It's on your own localized database in wherever where you're from. You require some form of technical experience and expertise to install this. I would say intermediate to expert level of experiences, and you can run an unlimited number of Wikibases. What this means is that, hey, I have like 3 databases of 3 different categories of data. I can run and download and install 3 different Wikibase instances, right? Or even 10, for example. And with the Wikibase Suite, the users will be able to, have a lot of high-level customizations on your Wikibase instance. You can do different things that you want to, if, of course, you have that technical expertise and knowledge. So for those users who are a bit uninitiated technically, like myself, I'm not a software engineer, but I also want to learn and use Wikibase to be part of Link Open Data Web. From 2002 last year, we have been, launching in beta this whole new product called Wikibase Cloud. It's a software as a service product, which is really, really suitable for new users to pilot Wikibase and to be part of the Link Open Data Web, to have your own little mini wiki data. Yeah. So what's so special about Wikibase Cloud? It is a software as a service product. It is hosted by Wikimedia Deutschland in Europe. So you do not host it yourself locally at home or in the office or in your organization. It is a cloud service, right? It is Europe. Therefore, the good thing is it is GDPR compliant. Yeah. You require 0 to novice level of technical expertise and experience to, to have your own Wikibase instance. If you want to set up your own Wikibase Cloud user account, we limit the number of Wikibase instances to 6 instances per Wikibase Cloud user account. And the customization is pretty generic. We have set it to be so at this point in time. If users of Wikibase Cloud want to have more features, we would then be able to expand the number of features for Wikibase Cloud in the near future. Just to give you a quick example of who are some of the users for Wikibase, I mean, I just put here GLAM specifically because I'm talking to a library audience here, right? Just to give you a quick snapshot, the active Wikibases instances that we currently track span a number of different disciplines. This pie chart shows the percentage of Wikibase instances in each category, and not the data that they contribute to the decentralized knowledge graph, right? So if you can see here, the largest number of Wikibase users are from the GLAM sector, the GLAM space, meaning to say the cultural heritage, galleries, libraries, archive, museum users, followed by science and technology, the science research institutions that be using Wikibase, government agencies and policymakers as well, they have been using Wikibases as well, and technological companies as well as other categories and Wikimedia projects. So Wikibase in the library context, Wikibase is currently being evaluated by different libraries as a tool to help them to store and manage their structured data, as well as connect to the world of the linked open data web. It's like having your own little mini Wikidata, right? Some of the notable libraries that have been piloting and experimenting with Wikibase are, the German National Library, French National Library, the Finnish National Library, National Library of Czech Republic, Luxembourg, as well as Smithsonian libraries. I'm not going to talk very in depth about everything. I will share this deck here and then I'll put some links here to the video. You can click onto the video and the links and to learn more about the experiences of the different libraries and institutions. Yeah, so I'll just flip through quickly. The German National Library has been piloting Wikibase for its integrated authority file, the gemeinsam Norm-Datei, the GND files. So this is something that they have been working on and working with. The French National Library as well, the FNE project is the French National Entities file as well, the authority files that they have been working on with Wikibase. Yeah. TIP Hanover, the Technical Information Library, have been also using Wikibase for their research. For their research work as well as to cater to institutions in the research and academic space. So I put a link here. Their showcase video is pretty interesting. So please go and take a look if you are very interested. Ministry of Culture in Luxembourg, they have a combined like 8 different GLAM institutions to join force together to create a competency network on digital cultural heritage topic. Some of the links are here and I will share with feel free to take a look at it. This is very interesting. The EU Knowledge Graph is a Wikibase instance managed and maintained by a team at the European Union Commission. What the Wikibase instance, the EU Knowledge Graph, as you see here, it contains general purpose data about European Union and institutions, as well as different fundings and beneficiaries. And at the front end of it, behind the back end is the Wikibase instance EU Knowledge Graph. The front end is the Cohesion website, where users can go and see how the different different projects are progressing, using EU funds. If you can see the link that I clicked on my slide, let's say, for example, if you look at Spain, this is the Cohesion website. And if you look at this particular region, province, cities, and then you will see the information of the different projects, where the money is being spent, how much is being spent, who is, which organizations, companies, contractors has been getting these funds. All the detailed information is here on the Cohesion website. And at the back end of it is the EU Knowledge Graph, which is the Wikibase instance. And they also reuse the data from Wikidata. So they are a very, very interesting project. So we have FactGrid as well, and slave.org, which is a very interesting database about the history of transatlantic slave trade, using Wikibase as a linking and reconciliation hub. Rhizome, which is a art organization in New York City, one of the early adopters of Wikibase. The Quechua base, which is a new Wikibase instance from cloud that is modeling Quechua language, right? And yes, So this is just a quick showcase of Wikidata, Mismatch Finder, and of course, if you are interested in being part of a link open data web, either through linking your databases to Wikidata and reusing Wikidata's data, or even having your own little mini Wikidata, which means download the Wikibase software or join the Wikibase ecosystem, then we very welcome you to do that. If you have any issues, questions, whether regarding Wikidata, Mismatch Finder, or Wikibase, feel free to raise them up at this particular session or write them, send them over to me via email. Thank you. This is a Wikibase community. I will share this deck with everyone so that all the links are available. I will hand over back to Anna and Monica.
So yes, I don't see questions in the Q&A section just yet. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And that's no question too stupid. I ask stupid questions all the time. It's fine. It's a part of the learning process. So just if you so if you have a question, just you can leave it here in the Q&A tab. And yeah, actually, if you do not have a question, I have a question. So you mentioned knowledge graph. So I wonder how would it work if I do not have any coding skills at all? How do I use Wikibase? Is it the name of the Wikibase to make a knowledge graph on any kind of subject?
Yeah, thank you. If you have, let's say, for example, a data set that you wish to share with the rest of the world, meaning to say it's open license, and you wish to be part of the link open data web, meaning to say that you also want to reuse the data of Wikidata and to enrich the data set that you have without any coding experience. That is fine, of course, because we have many documentations and tutorials and guides on how to download a Wikibase instance or even sign up for Wikibase Cloud and to get yourself started. So this is something that a lot of Wikibase newbies, they struggle with, right? They say, oh, this is too complicated. I have not known about this. But I wish to assure everyone that everyone starts from zero. I mean, I came in without any experiences in coding and engineering and software engineering skills. So there are certain tutorials and guides which we at Wikimedia Deutschland are trying to consolidate and make it clearer for new users to come on board. Yeah. So, and there's also a very vibrant community that provides a lot of support as well. Either on Telegram, either on the different Meta Wiki pages and WhatsApp groups or different channels. Yeah.
So I see there's a question in the Q&A, so I will read it aloud so everyone can hear it. So the question is from Prue Mitchell. For those GLAM organizations, so it's gallery, library, archives, and museums, using Wikibase SAS hosted by Wikimedia Deutschland, do you design a front-end interface to, or does it look like Wikidata?
Thank you for your questions. It looks like Wikidata. That is where your knowledge graph is supposed to be, right? It's where all the structured data are being stored. For a front-end interface, you will probably need to have someone with a website design experience and expertise to design a beautiful looking front-end website where it's interactive with the different users, right? Or the public, let's put an example, right? Or interact with the public. So the user interface, the front end, will be a separate thing. We do not do it. So your knowledge graph would be really looking like a Wikidata. Yeah. I can quickly wait. Let me just show you the knowledge graph, how it looks like. And then you can see the difference between the front end and the back end. Let me just find that Zoom link to share my screen. Okay, so this is the tab. So this is what the EU Knowledge Graph looks like. This is what the Wikibase instance looks like, and this is what it will look like when you sign up for a Wikibase software as a service. All the information, the data that you have will be stored within this system in itself. Let's say, for example, you can query the data on the data that you have, on the database that you have. But on the front end, the nice looking one that users, your community will interact with, it has to be a separate kind of interface that you have to get a website designer to do it for you. Yeah, I hope I answer your question.
That's the two more questions. One is in the chat, is from Monica, actually. So how can Wikidata be used to facilitate data interoperability? That's a very difficult word, by the way. Data interoperability and knowledge sharing between different organizations and domains.
Yes. So what we'll essentially need is to be able for the different organizations and domains to create an external identifier that can be on Wikidata itself, right? So then with the external identifier, let me see if I can share my screen. Let me go to Wikidata. Then that's where the data can be linked and can be shared with your database. Sorry, I'm just trying to go through my multiple tabs and okay, so let me share this Wikidata homepage, right? This is wikidata.org, very straightforward. Let's say if we look for someone famous like Barack Obama, for example, just the first thing that came to me, no other specific reasons why. And then if you look at the identifiers, the IDs, right? You have got many organizations that have created their own external identifiers. For example, the National Library of Brazil external identifiers, the French National Library. So what this means, even GND ID as well, what this means is that these different organizations / domains, they have their own database, which then are then tagged and linked to Wikidata via the ID, right? So the ID that they created. Yeah, so this is one of the very fundamental way of doing this. Let me stop share and go back again. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm looking here and there because I've got multiple screens and Zoom just keeps popping up everywhere. I believe there's one more question, right, Anna?
Yes, that's another question in the Q&A box. So is it useful for an academic institution or researchers?
Yes, Wikibase and Wikidata, they are definitely useful for academic institutions and researchers. In fact, we have been working with many digital humanities, in different research institutions in Germany as well as other parts of the world, where the different research institutions, they experiment with a better way to digitally store their research materials, and also to link the content, the items with Wikidata. There are many universities and libraries that have also embarked on a project to upload research papers, scholarly articles onto Wikidata. That has been happening. So we will encourage these various institutions, academic and research institutions. Hey, if you've got publications, that are open license, you share the rest of the world. So instead of putting them to Wikidata, you can just download a Wikibase software or use Wikibase Cloud and then just put everything on Wikibase Cloud and connect this Wikibase instance to Wikidata and rest of the world. Yeah. So there have been many institutions working on this. So if you like to learn more about how research institutions, are using Wikibase and Wikidata, feel free to write to me and I'll be very happy to point you in the right direction.
Okay, so yeah, we still have some time, so feel free to ask any questions. And so I just have another question. Sorry for being annoying. And so because you just showed us the front end and the back end, and I wonder if there's any, how say, compatibility between those things, because the backend should be the same, like a Wikibase, that's the same with whatever you use. But how do I make sure it's compatible to something that's some ready-made front end? Like how do I make them talk to each other like without crashing or anything? And sorry, because I'm really not a coder, so I'm not using the proper word. So that's, I hope you know what I mean.
It's absolutely okay. Thank you for asking. I'm not a software engineer or developer myself, so I guess we will leave the real answer to this for those who are experts in this. But what I can share is many Wikibase users or even projects out there, they are not doing this for the first time. It is not uncharted water, So it is definitely possible and not that complicated or difficult to link your Wikibase instance or to develop a front-end project. I just want to share a screen here to show some examples to Wikidata or Wikibase. For example, this is a Histropedia, the project that I mentioned earlier on, a nice front-end looking website that reuses the data of Wikidata. I just typed this video game consoles here, and then it shows me the timeline of different video game consoles that have been developed from what time to what time, what day, what year, what month until present and currently. And all this data here are from Wikidata. So if let's say you want to search for Pixar animated film, and I'm just clicking this here because it's top 20 timelines, right? You can also start searching your own. And it shows you the different animated films by Pixar over the years. This is an example of the front end of what it looks like. So the back end is actually Wikidata because they pull the data from Wikidata and put it into a visualized format, right? So it is definitely something that is not that difficult to do, yeah? To link your front end to a Wikibase / Wikidata backend. It has been done before multiple times. And if your technical colleague has got problems, then of course they are very welcome to reach out to the community. For example, projects like this, they are very happy to share with everyone their experiences, and everything is all open source. So they can all learn from each other. But what I can tell you confidently is that because I'm not from a technical background, I can't answer your question specifically. Oh, this PHP number here versus that, all these technical jargons. But it's been done multiple times before, and the community is very helpful when it comes to trying to link and develop a front end to a back end Wikibase instance. And there are front ends using apps as well, right? Not only just a website or landing page. Yeah.
So that's because you just show us the Histropedia, and I think it looks very beautiful, and you can stretch it out and stuff. And I think that's something for researchers to think about when they are visualizing the research output. So that's one way to tell a data story, if one may say. So I think, yeah, that's really good, because you don't need to be able to code in order to make that. You just need to be able to use Wikibase and link the data correctly, so then you will get this output. So yeah, so I think it's useful not just as a librarian, but also as a researcher who's looking for some ways to showcase the research outputs, because if it's just all text all the time, it doesn't really tell the story. So I think that's a very useful tool to help people understand your work, basically.
There's this other project that I'd like to share for the research and academic institutions. This project called Scholia, which reuses the Wikidata's data, right? For example, I just type here, Albert Einstein, right? Albert Einstein. Probably spelled wrongly, and I click search. And what it shows us is, Albert Einstein is Q937, which is the Q number, Q ID from Wikidata. And it tells you who Albert Einstein, has been doing, the works, table of content, publications, you see. So all the publications are here and gives you data on the number of publications per year, pages, etc., etc. Even gives you, the different topics that Albert Einstein worked on. Yeah, so all this data that a scholar pulls out from are from Wikidata. So we see there's even a co-author graph here. It looks very nice, right? It gives you a very nice visualization of how things are. Even co-author map as well. So what this means is that if you have your own database, whether it's whatever bibliographic data, cataloging, scholarly database that you want to share with the rest of the world, there are two options for you. Either you upload them, import them into Wikidata, or you can download Wikibase and have your own little mini Wikidata in where you are able to manage. Then you can link and share them with the link open data web, and projects like Scholar will be able to pull from your Wikibase, for instance. So let me stop sharing. Yep. Yes, correct. Thank you for sharing the link. Will you prepare your slides to share with us? Yes, I've linked the slides into the chat earlier on. Feel free to access it. If you have any questions, you can always send me an email directly. I will write.
Can you show us your email on the screen, or can you type it in the chat so everyone can see it?
Yes, let me type it in the chat.
So I think that should be, I think that should be the last question. And yes, so if that's no more question, maybe we should conclude the webinar here. So I think the conclusion is that you don't need to be a coder to use Wikibase, and it's a really good tool for your library, or you can learn the tool to help the user of your library to visualize their data better. So I think that's a really cool thing to learn. Let's see if I can sign up for a Wikibase workshop in the future, and because I have like maybe a basic coding skill, so I hope that would help. And let's see. So thank you for coming to this webinar. We are very happy to have you. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, the whole webinar is recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel sometime after the webinar. And please follow us on social media and send us any questions you have regarding Wikibase, and we will forward it to Alan, or you can send it to Alan directly and he will answer you. And if you have other suggestions for a webinar, or you want to let us know what you want to hear more about, please also send us an email, or just find us on social media, and we'll be very happy to find the proper speakers to deliver what you want. And yes, I think that should conclude it. And okay.
So just allow me to say thank you.
Okay.
The organizers, Monica and Anna, as well as IFLA, for inviting me for this talk. And thank you to all the different attendees who took your precious time off to listen to this. Yes, I hope to see you again at future sessions. There are many other Wikidata workshop sessions all over the world. For example, I'm currently attending one organized by the IFLA, the African Libraries Association group, on Wikidata workshop. So please feel free to Google, learn more about where the other sessions are. Thank you.
All right. So have a nice day or evening, depending where you are. So see you next time.
Have a nice weekend. Bye. See you.